Batman. We all know him. There is no other superhero like him. He has the best stories, the best allies, and man, does he have the best villains. Most notably, the Joker. He's the world's greatest detective, one of the cornerstones of the DC universe, and he's ready to do whatever it takes to put the bad guys behind bars. But what if Batman was forced to work with his foes? Actually get down and dirty with the likes of Bane, Harley Quinn, or even the Joker? To make things even more complicated, what if he had to deal with the Joker before he had committed to becoming the Joker? What if the Joker wasn't the crazed homicidal maniac we all know? What if he was actually, though slightly insane, an innocent, highly impressionable man who obsesses over his hero Bruce Wayne? What if, through tragedy, tough decisions, and unwittingly destructive advice, Bruce was directly responsible for the creation of the Joker, who would become, as the Joker himself put it,
I'm the villain of your dreams.
These are the questions Telltale asks its players in the excellent game Batman the Enemy Within. I'm going to give my thoughts and review of the game here. Expect plenty of spoilers, so if you want to see this game for yourself, go ahead and watch my playthrough of it here on my channel. You're in for a wild ride. Otherwise, you're going to have some majorly important plot points spoiled. Also, this is a review for the entire season, not just one episode. Again, beware, if you either don't mind or have already watched or played Batman the Enemy Within, let's get started. Aptly named, this game follows Season 1's departure from the conventional Batman canon. Season 1, simply called Batman the Telltale series, was a fun but overall slightly lackluster entry in the Telltale franchise. However, the most interesting part of the first game was how Telltale changed up the usual Batman canon, as I mentioned before. Throughout the game, things are twisted. In the game's storyline, Penguin used to be Bruce's friend. Penguin is actually tall and skinny. Harvey Dent only becomes Two-Face during an attack on the campaign trail, not with a vat of acid. The Joker, or John Doe, is not even the Joker yet, but a slightly unhinged mental patient that has the signature grin and knows more than he should. The main villain of the game is actually Vicky Vale, renamed Lady Arkham. She's a brand new and surprisingly good villain for the Batman mythos. And to top it all off, Bruce's father turns out to be a crime boss, and not the benevolent man most people know him as. Season 2, called Batman the Enemy Within, continues the story where Season 1 left off. Things are set off when the Riddler shows himself in Gotham. His arrival is a bad omen of the rise of the Pact, led by Harley Quinn, Bane, and Mr. Freeze. But there's another person in the Pact, John Doe. We all know who he is right from the start. With green hair, white skin, and a laugh that sends shivers down your spine, his identity is painfully obvious. However, he isn't blowing up hospitals, giving Batman some of his poisoned blood, or shooting the Commissioner's daughter in the back. He's comforting Bruce through the loss of Lucius Fox, or at least trying to comfort him. This is where the focal point of the game begins, your relationship with John Doe, who by the time the game ends has morphed into the Joker, either a vigilante trying desperately to please his hero Bruce, or the clown prince of crime, who will stop at nothing to destroy Bruce for good. Yes, you heard that right. Your choices in the game actually matter. A lot. In fact, depending on how you treated John throughout the game, you can have Episode 5 go in completely, radically different directions. Either the vigilante path, or the villain path. The two paths make Episode 5 almost like two episodes in one, as the different paths share only 3 scenes between them. Telltale gets a lot of flack for its illusion of choice, because no matter what you do, aside from a few minor changes, your choices will only impact the story in small ways, without changing the main story too much. This applied to the first season. No matter what you did, the ending was the same. This is certainly not true of Season 2. Even though the big decision at the end of Episode 5 is the same regardless of what Joker path you're on, Episode 5 is a completely different experience depending on how you treated John throughout the game. It's a welcome improvement. The voice acting in this game was unbelievably good. It's not often you come across voice acting in video games as good as Telltale's. Troy Baker, who plays Batman, never fails to deliver great performances. I really don't know why he hasn't been in any movies. Anthony Gruber delivers a spotless performance as John Doe, or the Joker. More along the lines of Mark Hamill's Joker, it's still unique and amazingly well done.
Working with you, Batman, it's just been... wow.
His performance in Episode 5 was especially perfect.
If there's one thing I learned by watching you, violence solves a lot of problems.
Every scene he's in makes you feel uneasy, in a good way. Laura Bailey reprises her role as Catwoman, and she does an excellent job as well. Deborah Wilson plays the shady Amanda Waller, a new character for this game, and the center of a dramatic power struggle I'll explain later. Murphy Geyer returns as Commissioner Gordon, and man does he do a good job as well.
doesn't sit right with me at all. I thought we had some trust, you and I.
J.B. Blank returns from Arkham Origins as Bane, who, though I had a problem with his design in the first 4 episodes, becomes a much more classic and awesome-looking Bane by episode 5. Really, the only character who I disliked the voice for was Harley Quinn, played by Laura Post. Her New York accent was highly distracting.
In the name of the law.
I mean, they couldn't get Tara Strong or Arlene Sorkin? No? Okay. Jokes aside, the acting was great. The writing was also great. Every dialogue choice seemed fresh. There were very few cheesy or cliched lines in the game.
I'm Batman.
Everything said was engaging and interesting, and much better than Season 1. Each character talks how you would expect them to, and rarely act out of character. It's always good to see this kind of writing in a video game. The gameplay is pretty typical for Telltale, i.e. there isn't much of it, but you come to Telltale games for a great story, not a great gameplay experience. You pick dialogue options, press buttons for quick-time events in combat, move around in the occasional detective work scene, and solve the occasional simple puzzle. However, a noticeable improvement in this game not found in other Telltale games is being able to choose how you fight. In the previous Batman game, your fight animations were all predetermined. Yeah, they looked awesome, but all fights looked the same. In Batman the Enemy Within, however, you can pick and choose how to fight. Throw a battering or a shock grenade, kick or headbutt. Even though these choices don't have any consequences, it's refreshing to see that bit of extra effort on Telltale's part. My only issue with gameplay is that the detective scenes were a little too simple. In Season 1, the detective scenes were elaborate, and sometimes fairly difficult to figure out. You piece together evidence from crime scenes. In Batman the Enemy Within, you usually wander around until you find the item that triggers the next cutscene. Episodes 4 and 5 are especially lacking in detective work. The graphics in this game also look great. Telltale has a signature cel-shaded graphic style that goes all the way back to their first game, The Walking Dead, and they never really changed it. But I gotta say, in this game the graphics look better than in any of their previous games. The expressions of characters' faces convey all kinds of emotion, and the overall style gives you comic book vibes, which are quite appropriate for a Batman game. There are also very few, if any, bugs or glitches, which is always praiseworthy in a Telltale game. Movement is very realistic, and you can tell they pay quite a bit of attention to how characters should move. The decisions in this game all feel important, much more so than in Season 1. Each one can and will change the storyline, and what this game does more than any other Telltale game in the past is focus on your relationships with important characters, which is awesome. Finishing an episode and seeing how your relationship with a character changed is one of the neatest feelings you can ever have in a video game. Your decisions will come back to haunt you, and it's hard to change relationships once they're made. Maintaining relationships is harder than it sounds. Aside from keeping up your relationship with John Doe, there's the hostile Amanda Waller, a powerful outsider who inhabits a gray area of justice. Then there's Jim Gordon, one of Batman's staunchest allies. He plays by the book and has one of the best hearts a cop can have. Will you side with Waller and her greater resources, or Gordon and his loyalty? Be careful though, Waller has a dangerous blackmail that could destroy Batman forever. Staying loyal to Gordon while tiptoeing around Waller was some of the most difficult parts of the game. Oh, and don't forget keeping up appearances with Harley Quinn. She doesn't know you're with the agency. She might get angry if you spill the beans. Catwoman is back, and she's still as unpredictable as ever. She may become your enemy, or your friend, depending on how you left her in Season 1. Try to stay on her good side. All these complicated relationship webs, Jokers being the most important, made the game stay interesting all 5 episodes. The only problem is that some characters fall by the wayside and become forgotten, Agent Blake and Mr. Freeze most notably. But the supporting cast is still quite strong and quite memorable. What makes this game such a standout is one of the best Batman games ever, aside from the complicated relationship web, great acting, realistic writing, heart-pounding action scenes, and tough decisions, was that the game told the kind of story that has never really been told in any kind of Batman media before. The Joker has always been Batman's arch-nemesis. We take it for granted. But what if he wasn't? What if he was actually Bruce's biggest fan? He still bears the signs. He's got the laugh, the nerve-wracking grin, and the green hair, but he isn't quite the Joker. There's a reason this game is called Batman Enemy Within. It's because for all Batman does to protect Gotham from evil, he still sometimes does as much harm as good. This is entirely true with John Doe. If John had never met Bruce in Arkham, he would have never become the Joker. As Alfred himself said,
Sometimes it's as if Batman creates the evil he means to destroy.
this is what the game explores, and you, the player, feels the brunt of that terrible responsibility. The Joker is your fault. The lives he takes are because of you and your decisions. Choose wisely. Thanks for watching my review of Batman the Enemy Within. If you can't already tell, this game gets a solid 5 stars from me. Not only is this a significant improvement over Season 1, it's one of the best Batman stories ever told. If you'd like, check out my playthrough of Batman the Enemy Within on my channel, or my video showing what I'd like to see if Telltale makes a Batman Season 3. If you guys enjoyed the video, then leave a like, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.